The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. Listener discretion is advised at all times.
And thank you once again for downloading and listening to another episode of the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, part of the Social Suplex Podcast Network. My name is Clive and I'm joined by the returning Ricky. Good to have you back, Ricky.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back.
How are you?
Doing alright over the incident last week. Everything's A-OK and glad to be back with you.
Good stuff. I've got some breaking news for you.
When you go.
Otis Dozovic has put in for a new gimmick change. So instead of doing all the heavy machinery stuff, he's going to break away. Well, he won't even break away from Tucker Knight. He's going to run for President of the United States. So he's going to clean up his act. He won't be wearing the singlets anymore. He'll come down in suits. Kind of a wee bit like Drew Gulak's campaign gimmick. And as part of the storyline on NXT, he does become the president. So he will now be known as POTUS Dozovic.
We're just going to get the shit jokes out of the way at the start. Like, normally we should leave the jokes at the end because we're going to lose listeners after that joke.
See, I've got quite a few tonight, so that's why I'm getting one in just now.
Yeah, that's fine. So I've got something serious to tell you. I was actually going to text you earlier on, but I thought I'd just save it and tell you on the pod. The police pulled me over earlier on today.
What?
Yes, police pulled me over when I was coming home. Driving home. So, what happened was, I've pulled into like the BP garage to get petrol for the car. And I said I was too busy like kind of looking at my phone and just looking about, and what happened was I ended up putting too much in the tank. It sort of some of it spilled out onto my arm and my hand. So I was like, that's no big deal, just quickly wipe it off, I'll get a shower, etc. When I go home, I go in, pay for it, come back out into the car, driving along the road, and I thought I'll have a quick smoke before I go in the house. So put a fag in my mouth, I get the lighter out, and I completely forgot that I had petrol in my arm. So light the fag up, and then I put the window down. All of a sudden, the police sirens are starting to go off behind me. So at first I never realised it was for me, so then I pull into the hard shoulder, put the window down, and the police are like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what's going on? Like, why are you pulling over? So the policeman says he's pulling me over, and he's going to have to like kind of take my details and etc. I need to come down to the police station and stuff. So I'm thinking to myself, like, what is going on? I'm starting to panic at him. So I asked the police officer, like, what have I done? And he goes, you have a firearm on you.
The delivery of that was impeccable. Well done.
It was terrible. I loved that joke.
It's good.
Great joke.
Well, we'll just make this a stand-up show for this evening. We'll try and,
we should
take Dolph Ziggler's mantle. So, we had Super Showdown in Australia this Saturday. Quite the success in terms of sort of global reach and stuff like that. So before we actually talk about the show itself, one thing that's become apparent is with the Greatest Royal Rumble in July, was that July?
I think so, something like that.
Roundabouts that time, summertime anyway. Super Showdown in Australia here, and you've got the Crown Jewel coming up on November the 2nd, a return to Saudi Arabia. It would appear that these quote-unquote glorified house shows aren't really glorified house shows anymore. Would you agree with that? Do you think they're going to be a regular feature from here on in?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they sign like a 10-year deal or something with Saudi Arabia?
Oh, I forgot about that. Mm-hmm.
Is that true, or have I just made that up?
It's probably true.
Yeah, for me, they're still kind of glorified house shows because and this isn't one of the reasons, but outside of what happened with the 205 title at the weekend there, you don't, and I don't mean any disrespect, like I'm not trying to be a dick or anything, but very rarely do you see big title changes happen outside of the US. I know AJ Styles won the WWE title back last year, but I think that was maybe more so because a lot of people weren't enamoured with the Brock Lesnar Jinder match, and I think that was like a week or two before Survivor Series, so they might have delayed it, or they couldn't have delayed it any longer. That's why, for me, they're still like house shows, because when you're getting Undertaker and Triple H, quote unquote, one last time or last time ever, or you're getting that 50-man battle royal, and now you're going to get Brothers of Destruction versus DX. You're not going to get that in a quote-unquote normal pay-per-view. You really probably won't get that kind of matches on a normal pay-per-view. I know sort of WrestleMania kind of has that one, maybe two kind of like gimmicky old-school wrestlers come back, or there's a celebrity involved. But I think they are going to happen now every single year. How many a year, I don't know. I think guaranteed at least one for Saudi Arabia a year. I don't know. For me, until I see otherwise, I don't think it will be anything more than a glorified house show. Until you like, they make too much. We make it out to be too big of a deal to be seen as just a normal pay-per-view. If that makes sense.
Well, my side of that is they make too big of a deal. They take up a lot of TV time, so the canon, as it were, plugging these shows, running storylines towards these shows. So house shows, you get them 2-3 a week, as far as I'm aware. They're not canon. They don't really have much of an impact on the main storylines that are going on WWE. But these ones, I mean, look at the many promos leading up to the Triple H Undertaker match. You had cruiserweight title matches where the title changed hands. Big shout out to my man Buddy Murphy. I jumped for joy at that moment, I have to say. You had a number one contender match with Daniel Bryan and The Miz. It just seems like they did too many pay-per-views last year, where they was having them like every 2-3 weeks sometimes, and it was back to doing the dual branded shows. But with so much of the TV being geared towards these super shows or super showdowns or whatever you want to call them, something tells me we're going to see quite a few more of these in 2019.
Yeah, I don't mind that, but I think for me it's 2018 and we shouldn't be saying Triple H versus Undertaker closing a quote-unquote pay-per-view or anything like that. And potentially we could get DX versus Brothers of Destruction closing the Saudi Arabia show. That shouldn't happen to me, and when things like that happen, that's where I still don't believe it's like a proper pay-per-view. Like DX versus Brothers of Destruction for me shouldn't go on last in Saudi Arabia, and I don't know if it's going to. I know a lot of people are going to talk about Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement, etc. But I mean, I don't know how many. Like, I know a lot of people probably will want him to come out of retirement. I'm not one of them. I'm not clamouring to see that match or see him come out of retirement anyway. So yeah, I think, like I say, there's too many. We need to bring back these kind of legends for these shows. For me to take it too serious as a pay-per-view at the moment.
But you get these legends coming back for the Big Four regularly.
WrestleMania, you do. SummerSlam, I don't think too often.
Not so much. Survivor Series.
The Royal Rumble, you get. Granted, I think that's happened probably for like the last 10-15 years or so, where you get a legend appearing in the Royal Rumble.
That's understandable.
But not a significant spot. Undertaker closing WrestleMania with Roman Reigns was an exception that needed to be made. So in terms of like Survivor Series, like Triple H, but like I say, I feel that we need to get away from bringing a lot of these older guys back for me to, like I say, to take it serious, for me to really, I wouldn't say, like, I was kind of invested in some of the matches, but not all of them. Like, it really didn't bother me seeing the Undertaker Triple H match. But I could do without bringing back all these older guys.
I just think this year and last year especially, there's been a lot of focus on the part-timers, and I think them taking up space on these glorified house shows, which was, by the way, just under an hour from entrance to walk-ups for this Super Showdown, which irked me quite a bit, especially when some of the matches felt rushed. I don't know what the plan was with Daniel Bryan versus The Miz, if that was always going to be a 2-minute small package number. But if it wasn't and they had to cut short that match so they had enough time for the hour-long spectacle of Triple H and Undertaker, then that's the kind of thing that bothers me, that these old dinosaurs are taking up valuable time, that the current roster who are there every week, who do all the house shows, time's being taken away from them. That's what bothers me. And
I saw, sorry, on you go.
And then, I'm not sure how controversial this opinion will be, but you've got Rey Mysterio coming back next week, and I've not got much time for it, if I'm being honest with you.
Two things then. I saw reports saying Daniel Bryan match was always booked to be that, because I think I also saw the report saying Triple H was in charge of the show, and he's the one that booked that 35-odd minute match or whatever with the Undertaker. He booked it to go that long. How much truth is in that, I don't know. And at first, when that Daniel Bryan match finished, I thought they botched the finish.
Yeah, it was quite...
Partly because it came out of nowhere, and then the first pinfall, it was 1, and then they kind of seemed to set themselves, and then it was 2-3.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my initial reaction at first. And in terms of Rey Mysterio coming back, Rey, I believe, will probably doing house shows, etc. And I don't hate that part-time guys come back. I hate part-time guys coming back who can't go. And from what we've seen of Rey, he can still produce quality in-ring work. Guys like, as much as I love The Undertaker, and as much as I felt, some of his recent kind of matches, like the Rusev one was fine, and the Cena one wasn't really a match, but he actually looked a lot better than, like, health-wise and moving around. He looked a lot better than he had done. But my issue is part-time guys coming back and not being able to produce good enough matches.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it becomes an issue for me. I don't mind if Rey Mysterio came back, if he came back as a part-time, but as long as when he was in the ring he was producing really good matches, that wouldn't bother me at all. And that's kind of one of the things that stopped me with being a fan of Brock's, was that a lot of his matches were repetitive and boring, and it didn't seem like there was much effort going into them.
See, the thing with Rey Mysterio is, it was a very nice surprise to see him at the Royal Rumble, and as has been said, it was like looking at Monday Nitro Rey Mysterio, with how leaned out he was, zipping around the ring. But not long after that, he picked up a torn bicep injury and was out of action for months because of that. So are we going to have to deal with, okay, let's insert him into the full-time schedule, but here comes another injury-prone wrestler, because he is injury-prone?
I mean, if he's injury-prone, so be it. Like, we just won't see him. But for me, it's, does he stay on SmackDown, or is there a possibility he goes to 205? I think he'll probably stay on SmackDown, but...
Yeah, I think with Fox TV, there's going to be a lot of focus on SmackDown over the next wee while.
And, like, the thing with the Rey Mysterio one, I wish they didn't announce it. I wish they just come next week. It is next week, isn't it? It is next week. That he just appeared. Like, and that's something, I understand that they're saying, well, if we announce it beforehand, we'll boost ratings, etc. But when you get such an unexpected surprise return or debut, like, you can't. it's not the pop and etc. and the reception isn't as organic and as authentic as it would be if it wasn't announced. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
They're probably just trying to get ahead of the spoilers, the rumour mill.
I get that, but sometimes nothing comes out. Like, I'm trying to think the last time that someone returned.
The Hardys.
That's it. Like, not us. I didn't know. Like, I think there was a lot of speculation leading up to it, but then because they had a show earlier on that day, I think people kind of just forgot about it, or they kind of says, right, well, they won't come back. And the other one would be Shane, when Shane returned.
The Hardys on that day, I can't remember the name of this, but it's an event, a sort of social barbecue thing that takes place before sporting events. What's it called?
Tailgate.
A tailgate, aye. I'm showing my non-Americanness there. They were at a tailgate that day or the day before, showing no signs of heading to WWE, and then they appeared, so it can be done.
It can, and that's what I miss. That's why sometimes I wish they wouldn't announce stuff. Like I said, I understand why they did, but you just miss out on that authentic reaction from people. I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong. I think Ray's great, and it's a nice kind of fresh matchup because we might get someone like we could get Daniel Bryan Ray or Rey Mysterio and Miz, Samoa Joe, etc., etc. So, like I said, for me, the main thing is I don't mind older guys coming back, whether it's a part-time or full-time, as long as they can still go.
Well, it's safe to say I don't think Undertaker can still go. That was a plodding match there on Saturday, but if there is any positives in his game, I was reminded on Saturday that he can swing a steel chair like nobody else can. Did you see those chair shots onto Triple H's back? Did you hear them?
I think the reason why it was changed, or it was a no DQ, was to kind of cover up any any rust or like sloppiness, etc. Because at the end of the day, you don't associate hardcore matches being very technical. It's just a case of just sheer brutality at times. But The Undertaker's alongside Bret Hart, my all-time favourite, and I've always says like I would never say no to a Taker coming back or whenever it returns. But I really wish now we do see the end of him. Not in that sense. Just if he stops wrestling, like it's getting more and more difficult to watch, and it's just in what we're now going to go through at Saudi Arabia by seeing Shawn Michaels return. It's not my cup of tea.
No.
And I know a lot of people are saying that I've saw rumours that Shawn Michaels might be coming back at WrestleMania, and seeing people saying, "Oh, who would you like him to see?" It's like nobody. Just stay retired. Like, there's no need for it. And another thing is that when people say, "Oh well," when the Saudis roll out all that money and Vince McMahon's going to take it, and he's bringing Shawn Michaels out of retirement, fucking Shawn Michaels is his own man. He could turn around and say, "No, I don't want to come back," but he's coming back because he wants to come back for that payday. So you don't really blame him for that. I really don't need to see it. No, I really don't.
I've not got much time for it. I'm more interested in the younger guys and what they're doing. And
don't get me wrong, and I suppose this is where I'm kind of like I'll be seen like almost a hypocrite, but I will watch the match, because at the end of the day it is The Undertaker. I know that kind of contradicts a little bit what I was saying, but I don't.
Before, I
suppose I watch it, but I don't need to see it. Like he says, there's already a couple of matches on that card that it's going to be really, really excellent. Daniel Bryan and AJ, and then you've got the Braun Roman Brock matchup as well. So there'll be more than enough good matches on that to kind of make up for that tag match.
Do you know, it wasn't even the main event of Super Showdown that annoyed me the most.
Okay.
Are you ready? a returning segment to the podcast. The absolute goal of John Cena on Saturday night. This guy, right?
What about him?
What about him? Right, so Bobby Lashley, Lio Rush and Kevin Owens, Elias had been running this multiple segments and matches and variations of matches over the last few weeks. And see, to be fair, it was a pretty entertaining segment that was going on throughout the last few weeks. And it was all about Cena, leading up to a match in Australia where Cena would team with Lashley. All three other guys were an absolute afterthought in this match with Cena, which lasted, less than 10 minutes. Cena comes in and does his, not 5, but 6 moves of doom. And then wins it, and then it just cuts one of his, thank you very much, I'm so humble. You're not humble, pal, not far from it. Promos. So all the work that these guys put in over weeks of TV, carrying the feud, didn't mean anything come Saturday night. That was just for Cena to showcase his new body and his new haircut and his new 6 move of doom. And we'll not see him again till the World Cup at Saudi Arabia.
So, here's the thing, right? I'm going to channel my inner rants, and apologies, rants, that's not a dig or anything like that. Now, Cena is currently filming a movie, and apparently it was agreed that he would take part of the match as long as he wasn't put in harm's way, hence why he only took that one sort of being pushed off the apron, comes in, hits a couple of moves and he gets the win. That's why he didn't take any bumps, and that's why he wasn't in the match at all. So, and I can understand why from a PR sort of point of view, and it's not very often that they have these kind of shows, or it's not very often they're down in Australia, that we may as well bring out the biggest star we've got, and I can get that from that point of view, so it made sense. That finisher he hit, oh my goodness. My 4-year-old son could come up with a better finisher than that. Mm-hmm. That was just terrible. That was god awful. And anyone that has to be on the receiving end of that and ultimately get the 1, 2, 3 against him, hats off to you. It was terrible to see. The promo at the end, at one point I thought he was about to retire.
I wouldn't have minded that, to be honest.
Oh, neither would I, to be honest. So yeah, it was weird, but I can understand why they pulled it, why he was brought onto that show, because at the end of the day, it's John Cena, he's a massive star, a lot of people wouldn't have seen him, and a lot of people might have bought tickets just for that sole reason.
We'll see if that's the case and they bought tickets for that sole reason. Would you feel cheated out of your money if your bae came in for a hot tag and a promo?
It kind of depends, right? Because some people will be like, I'm just glad I got to see him, you know? I'm not a massive... And like I says, a lot of kids will be happy to have seen him there as well. So, like I says, I can understand where you're coming from, but at the end of the day, a lot of people love him that much that they'll just be happy that they got to see him. And then, I know you mentioned the World Cup thing at Saudi Arabia. So there's 8 people.
Do you know about this World Cup? You want to tell me about that? Because is it a round robin style format? I
don't know. I don't know if it's going to be just a fucking free for all or a battle royal or what it is. But the main issue I see is someone's got to tell fucking Vince McMahon that, you know, there's other countries out there outside of fucking the USA.
Aye, that's true.
I understand that we're still going to get other qualifying matches. We've got, is it not Ray and Naka next week?
Yes, that's right.
So Naka could technically win it, but let's be honest, Ray's not going to lose that match, so Ray wins it, so that'll be the 5th American in the match.
Mm-hmm. Who's in it so far? Baron, Kurt?
No, Cena, Kurt.
So
Cena, Kurt, Randy Orton won that match.
What did Cena do to qualify?
His name is John Cena. He didn't need to qualify based on his achievements.
Come on, man.
Gosh, it's fucking ridiculous. Orton, and who else was in the qualifying match last night? Jeff Hardy.
And that was surprising that Jeff Hardy beat Samoa Joe.
Unless Joe's hurt. Don't know. But, because he sold a leg injury, but obviously could have been selling that from the match with AJ. But a WWE World Cup match, and potentially 5 of the participants are American.
I haven't got...
And, I mean, let's be honest about it, that's the only fucking World Cup the Americans are ever going to win.
I haven't got too many issues with it. I think it's a novel idea in terms of WWE anyway, where you've got this...
No, I just find it like kind of ridiculous that 5 of the entrants are going to be American.
I know.
I couldn't care less because it's a nothing match and you get how Braun Strowman got his shitty green belt thing, and it's going to be the same thing here, but it's crazy that there's already 5 Americans in it.
Right, okay. Fair enough, but I think it's a World Cup would be interesting to have.
I don't actually care. It's just strange.
You went crackling there, sorry, what did you say?
It's just strange.
Sorry to hear that. But anyway, the World Cup format, do you like the format? See if it was something like the G1 or like an actual round robin.
Oh yeah, I'd like that. That would go on for a long time, I imagine, if it was a round robin.
Well, didn't TNA do something like that where there was a storyline going on between Matt Hardy and EC3, and Matt Hardy won, but the belt had to be vacated, and then they did a World Cup to crown the new champion of TNA.
Yeah, idea.
Does that not ring a bell?
I mean, TNA done so many fucking strange things.
Any other positives from the show for you? Super Showdown?
I mean, so in terms of the World Cup thing, we're still waiting to see how it's going to be formatted, so at this point it could be anything. Super Showdown. Becky and Charlotte, I enjoyed both the matches.
I like that.
Both at
I like
the weekend
finish.
and last night's. Made sense to do the two kind of dodge fin. The first one, Becky obviously walks out, and then the second one's a double count out, because I always felt it was going to conclude one way or another Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fine with that. Miz and Daniel Bryan, like I say, it was strange. I actually thought the Miz was going to win, but based on what Miz said last night in his promo, he says, doesn't matter who wins the title, I got next, which obviously implies that he'll take on whoever wins that match.
Uh-huh.
And I think Miz wins that title by the end of the year, and then we get to look forward to a month of glorious promos from Miz just telling Daniel Bryan how he's worthless and how he's got the title and he won't ever get it off him, etc.
Do you know, I can see a scenario where the Miz helps Daniel Bryan beat AJ Styles, so that when the Miz can take the title off of Bryan.
I hope not, because I want Miz to hold it and then just have those promos where he just lays into Bryan. The other thing, Elias playing AC/DC on the guitar.
Yes, that was quite cool.
Let's hope Kevin Owens isn't seriously hurt. Rumours going around saying he needs knee surgery. But that 205 match was terrific. I mean, let's look at this. I think the best thing to come out of that match, right, was a lot of people who tuned in to watch it probably have never watched a 205 match ever, or very, very little.
Mm-hmm.
And that match right there would have hooked people into it, and they would now be like, I'm going to continue watching that.
I'm hoping.
And that, for me, is the biggest thing to come out of that entire pay-per-view.
I think that was a great night for 205 Live, because from a personal standpoint, I've not been that enamoured with Cedric Alexander as the champion. Buddy Murphy's been quite the sensation since he came over to 205 Live. Although I think there are other wrestlers on the show, on the roster, that deserve it more than him, just because of merit and time put into the show and stuff like that, but I still think it was a wise choice. Obviously you've got the home country all behind him. So it was just a good move to put the belt on an Australian, but at the same time, as you said, you've got a bigger audience there who's watching a cruiserweight title match, which, again, from a biased point of view, I've seen better matches on the 205 show itself, but it was still probably the most exciting match of the night. Maybe the Shield the six-man tag was quite good as well, but in terms of just quick, fast-paced action, you couldn't top what happened in the cruiserweight title match, so it could be a turning point. Rance nearly spilled the beans earlier. He said, "Have you read the 205 Live spoilers?" And I said, "No." The way I didn't read too much into it, but it got me panicking that maybe Cedric Alexander won the title back already. But the way Rance was sort of hinting at it says something's happened in 205 Live this week. So things are looking good. I'm not sure, not got a clue what it is. Do you know the spoilers at all?
I think I know what he's talking about.
Right, well, say no more then, because I'm looking forward to seeing what it is. I just hope it isn't that Cedric wins again straight away. Please no.
Okay.
One other thing I quite enjoyed, let me preface this by saying I've got no time for the Bellas. I don't care if Nikki's improved. This is one of those part-timer things where the part-timers are coming back out and sort of capitalising on the popularity of these big events. But the story that's been told now between Ronda and the Bellas is quite interesting, and it was quite obvious to see on Saturday night, not even just Monday night, where the Bellas screwed Ronda over, but with Ronda and Nikki sort of having a minor scuffle about who's going to start the match. Ronda wasn't being tagged in at all throughout the start of the match, throughout a good portion of the match, until Nikki and Brie were in danger. So Nikki said, right, I'll need to call Ronda in now. So I like that it was quite clear that the Bellas were thinking, nah, this is still our ring, you can just wait your turn. So that's obviously the story that's been told now with what's happened in Raw. But so while I'm not enamoured with the Bellas being involved at all, it's a decent enough story that I can get behind.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I'm going to say, yeah.
What else? The six-man tag, the Shield.
In fact, no, what I will say is, please do not make Ronda go fucking life and death with Nikki Bella at Evolution. That just cannot fucking happen. That is not believable.
That's true, but they've made Ronda sort of slug it out, struggle in her matches believable by things that have happened to her in matches. So with Alexa, she had she already had a rib injury.
That's all well and good, but you can't keep doing that, because then everyone notices that and says, well, that's the only way. And it comes to a point where when you keep doing it the same thing over and over again, people are just going to be bored of it and fed up with it.
Aye, but see if you
There's nothing wrong with having your champion squash a challenger every now and then.
Hold on. Brock Lesnar.
Uh-huh.
See if we went down the other route and Ronda Rousey was just a squash machine, that would get boring very, very quickly.
That's why I said every now and then.
So we've had that with Brock for the last 2 years. Let's do something
I'm
different.
not talking about Brock, I'm talking about Ronda, and I understand that that's the way they've done it with Alexa Bliss when she won the title, and that's fine. And in the return match, Alexa got more than enough offense in. And I'm not saying that you need to do it all the time, but see if you've done it like once a year or once every 5, 6, 7, 8 months or whatever, like, you have to, like, there comes a point where everyone knows and realises, and you just have to emphasise it, that it's Ronda fucking Rousey and she could literally destroy 99% of the females out there in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. I'm not advocating for her to go on a 2-year run where she literally just squashes opponent after opponent. That does nothing. But what I'm saying though is, if you just sprinkle 1 or 2 of those in, that's fine for me, because it's believable because of who she is.
Well, it's working for me. What's going on just now?
That's fine, but I just don't believe Nikki Bella as a credible threat.
No, I
to
don't.
to Ronda Rousey.
I don't think she is a credible threat, but they'll do something which makes her a credible threat, even if it's cheating in some form or manner.
We'll see.
We will see. What else was there on the night? The Shield versus the Dogs of War. Did you enjoy this match?
It was good. I mean, all along it's just been from the Drew and his sidekick's point of view. It's just they're trying to. I think they're emphasising to Dolph that you're kind of a weak link and you better not screw it up for us. And then the Shield, it's just, my God, it's painful to watch.
See?
Because we're seeing it in front of our eyes, and Dean's eventually going to turn, and it's great storytelling, but it's unbelievably tragic to watch because you're just, from a kayfabe point of view, you're just like, no, I don't want it to happen, sort of thing.
This was what I was wanting to talk about, actually, and a couple of the examples of what I was going to bring up are involved in this match. So, Dean Ambrose was effectively saved by Roman Reigns. Braun was about to steamroller him, basically, in the outside of the ring, and Roman speared Braun through the barricade. It just, the timing on that was beautiful, I have to say. That was really good timing. So the story that they're telling here is that Dean is the weak link within the Shield, and Dean is starting to believe that himself because the other guys have got the titles. Dean lost again on Monday Night Raw, and he just walked away up the ramp himself at the end of Raw. I have a question for you. I understand what you're saying is it's tragic. It's hard to watch from a kayfabe point of view. It's quite, I was saying earlier, it's quite emotionally mature storytelling for WWE, all this, the nuance that's going on, right? But do you think they're starting to properly align characters in the heel-face thing? So the question is, do you think Dean was a bit of an arsehole for what he did at the end of Raw?
No. Where he walked away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got the win.
I know that, but clearly Roman and Seth have got his back because they showed that in 2 nights prior.
But it's like, right, let's look at this, right? Say you're in a relationship. This is not a reflection on anyone, right? So no one read too much into this. You're in a relationship, male or female or whatever, right? You're in love with one another, but for one reason, one of you just seem to have some sort of trust issue. Now, either the woman or the male have never given a partner any kind of reason for them not to be trustworthy, but yet you still have something in your mind that you feel like, no, they can't be trusted or they're cheating on me. And it's kind of like this. Like, deep down, you probably know, but there's just something niggling away in the back of your mind about it that you're not 100%, you don't 100% trust them.
But I don't think that Dean is Dean justified in the way he's acting, because he's got this self-doubt, but his brothers in arms don't feel the same way about him.
But then you could flip that and say, why would you feel the need is to stand in front of a national TV, in front of a live audience, and say, we are like the workhorses or whatever in these show, or as long as we've got these, whatever, and they've both raised the titles, both knowing that Dean doesn't have a title. Dean was stood there looking quite sheepish, and they're like, why would you put me in that awkward position when you know I don't have a title to raise alongside the both of you?
Dean can just hit back and say, I beat you both in a triple threat.
But that won't achieve anything but in his current frame of mind.
I know. But what I'm trying to get at is, it's his frame of mind, and it's not from an outsider looking in. It's not the right frame of mind that he's in. So I think he's acting immaturely.
He may be acting immaturely, but like I say, once you've got something in your mind, it's difficult, regardless of how loyal someone's been to you or is to you, to get that kind of out your head. Because he can always go back and pick up on little things if he really wanted to, like I say, with the whole with Seth and Roman were posing with a title. Like I say, there's just little things that you could look at. But no, I think I'm not saying you can justify his actions, but I think you can justify in the sense that mentally he's all over the place at the moment. He just doesn't know who to turn to or where he can go or what to do, and because of the doubt in his mind, that's making him, and that's making or forcing him or making him make poor decisions by, like I said, maybe by walking away and maybe not believing it. They've got his back. Because, like I say, once your mind is kind of all over the place and you're not thinking straight and you've got all these other thoughts going through your head, it's difficult to sometimes get rid of them. And, like I say, it leads you to making poor choices.
Maybe that's not a good example of the topic I was wanting to talk about. Or maybe it's just too,
no, I mean, like,
it's just too early in this story.
I can understand where you're coming from and why people might think that. But, like I said, I think you could just easily counter it by saying that when you've got people saying things in one ear and like I said, there's a couple of examples that he could point to, it does make him maybe really wonder, like, do you really have my back, or am I the weak link, or why am I involved in this stable or whatnot?
Well, how about then, in terms of characters being portrayed more effectively as either faces or heels, what Becky Lynch has been doing? Now, it's no secret to us that Becky Lynch is a heel because she might be justified in how she feels, but she's not justified in how she's been acting. But she won a match clean at Hell in a Cell. However, at Super Showdown she had to disqualify herself, and she's basically starting to show cracks that maybe she can't beat Charlotte after all. So do you think they're going down the sort of chicken shit heel with Becky now?
I don't want to commit too early because it's only been one match that we've done that. Because obviously the one last night, they're both counted out. And what happens after the match where she walks away doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, match is finished. You're like, right, I've retained my title, I'm getting the hell out of here now. I've got nothing else to prove to you. In terms of her character development, where she was in the aftermath of the match at SummerSlam to where we are now, it's been excellent. She's been on fire. For me, this is the most that people have genuinely seemed to care about Becky. Like, I think a lot of people, for the most part, everyone did care about her, but I feel like people are a lot more vocal about it now. And I think that's the difference. A lot of people cared, and a lot of people were clamouring for her to be given a title shot or a title reign, but they weren't as vocal as they are now.
Right.
So for me, yeah, you're kind of justified in doing it, because at the end of the day, like, we've got to see a different dimension of Becky. It opens up further down the road a couple of different avenues for her character to go in different matches. Like I say, I think the whole thing's going to end at Evolution. I hope Becky retains. I expect Becky to retain, to be honest. But yeah, like, her character development, we've seen it. It's been excellent. It's just, I've been on board with it. Like I say, remember the immediate aftermath, like the week after the podcast after the SummerSlam match, we say give it a couple of months and then we'll decide how it's went and where we are with it. And like I said, I'm fully on board with it. I think it's worked out excellent. I think it's been superb the way she's done her mic work, some of her antics during the matches, and like kind of segments in it where she just turns up and starts beating up Charlotte. Overall, I think her character evolution has been pretty much perfect.
That's fair enough. I'm starting to think that the idea I had in my head for this conversation isn't really that great. The only other one I've got so far is Bella's, right? People were already hating Bella's, and now that they've turned, it sort of makes sense. It's something for them to hate now. So do you think that people, like, although I'm still not fully on board, do you think people are a bit more accepting of the Bellas on the card with their bad intentions clearly known?
No. 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 I don't. The thing is, like, Brie, people just don't like Brie because she's flat out terrible in the ring. Nikki was absolutely shocking for a long, long time. And I mean, just absolutely pitiful. But she's gotten to the point where, I'm not ready to say she's great or anything, but she can put on solid matches. And I give her a lot of credit for that, for doing something Brie couldn't do. And Nikki improved a lot. For me, just because you turn someone heel, right, doesn't mean that your hatred for that person can now be justified. If you understand, like, just because we're booing them, people didn't like them, we'll turn them heel, that means it's fine. No, I don't agree. I think a lot of the thing that people didn't like about them towards Brie was that Brie wasn't that great in the ring. And I think a lot of people have got an idea of what they think how Nikki got to where she is.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of not giving her the due and the respect she deserves for actually improving in the ring, which played a big part in her getting to where she was. And some people might want to point out who's her boyfriend or who she's engaged to, etc., but might have helped, or might people whatnot. But no, I'll give her credit for improving in the ring. But no, for me, I wouldn't say I can now boo them or gives us a reason to boo them because the way they're being booked and now they've been turned. Like I said, I was just never a big fan of them in the first place, and to me, I don't think them coming back is going to be a long-term thing anyway.
I sincerely hope not.
About Nikki on Evolution.
Mm-hmm. Well, how about this one then?
That's what I think. I think the whole point of when you go.
Sorry, the connection's a wee bit dodgy tonight, folks. Apologies for any technical snafus that are going on. But the last person I was going to bring up was Braun Strowman, who's starting to basically be more of an arse towards Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. Do you think that's him showing the selfish guy for who he really is, that he just needed backup to deal with the Shield, and now that he's fed up with them because they're not doing as he wants, he's just being more of a heel, if that makes sense?
Right. To kind of steal a line from Kyle, outside of what Braun done at WrestleMania, Braun's always been a bully and a bit of an arsehole.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Kyle's a believer in that. Like, yeah, he was portrayed as a babyface, but he literally bullied KO for months.
Yes. It's just because people have been cheering him a lot, probably cheering him because he's against Roman Reigns.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, a lot of his characteristics, a lot of his... The only hasn't really changed. The only thing, like I said, that has changed is that he stopped sort of waving and pandering and high-fiving into the crowds and picking kids to be his tag team partner, but a lot of his characteristics and a lot of his mannerisms and a lot of the things that how he went about handling business hasn't changed. It's just now he's perceived to be a heel, that we think he's now been this big bad bully, but in the reality is he's always been a bully.
Uh-huh.
And yet, like he says, him now trying to giving sort of Ziggler some grief, etc., is just his bullying tendencies shown through once again.
Yep, he's showing his true colours.
Yep, and let's be honest about it, fucking Braun, you're the fucking sidekick to Drew here. Drew's the fucking superstar out of that three.
Really?
Yes, really. Yes.
Right.
Do you want to know the main difference between Braun and Drew? Why I feel like that?
Why?
Because Drew is a fucking great wrestler.
He is. He's good.
Drew can be, for me, a lot of Braun's matches can be kind of the same, and I give Braun a hell of a lot of credit because for a guy his size, for his ability to do certain things, and what he can do is just frightening. But Drew can talk. Drew's got the look. Drew can wrestle. Drew
There's not that
can
much
do
height difference.
anything.
There isn't that much height difference between those two guys either.
No, and Drew's a fucking monster. For me, Drew is a superstar of that group. He really is. For me, he will be a Universal Champion one day. Cannot wait to see him and Roman getting in a feud, or him and Seth being in a one-on-one feud, or even him and Dean. But for me, it's Drew. Drew's the superstar of those three.
It should be said that the matches that Drew has had individually with members of the Shield have all been really good TV matches.
And he's working NXT as well.
Oh, does he still do? Oh, and his work? I thought you said he's working.
No, yeah, his work in NXT before he got called up.
Yep. I still remember he cut a very, very, very passionate babyface promo in the lead up to the Bobby Roode match on NXT TV. So he can work on both sides of the coin, definitely.
Yep.
He's the chosen one after all, isn't he?
He is the chosen one, and I'm not saying he's a superstar or anything just because he's Scottish. Or that he kind of grew up just about like 4. But like I said, I think I think a lot of people would probably agree with that statement if I'm honest.
Mm-hmm. He has his detractors though. People find him a bit...
Oh no, he does. A lot of people have detractors, and a lot of people find issues in people that aren't really there.
That's fair enough. You don't care about the detractors of Drew McIntyre, do you?
No, I mean, I don't really give a fuck if someone hates someone I like.
Roman Reigns, perhaps?
Roman, Natalia, Bray, Rusev.
Oh, did you hear about Bray? Bray is teaming back up with Eric. He's teaming back up with Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, but they're changing their look a wee bit. So Bray is going to shave one half of his hair, one half of the side of his head. Eric Rowan is going to have a blue tongue, and Luke Harper's going to sort of just remain that sort of backwoods body weight workout person and be the workhorse, and they're going to be called the Wyatt Squad.
That's terrible.
Isn't it just really bad?
That is really bad. That is really bad. I have no words for that. That's like brought me to a complete halt here.
We'll just end the show.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add on to
Super Showdown.
No, like overall, I felt. Do you know what? I thought it was a decent show. To be honest, I didn't mind it so much. I think Palix, I went into it thinking it's like it is just a glorified house show, so I wasn't expecting too much, and I wasn't going to get hung up on certain things. But you know, in fact, you know what rivals the 205 match was the beginning of AJ versus Joe. When Joe never even hit the ring and AJ's music went, and he turned round and he's just stood there, and AJ stood there, and
yes.
And as it was happening, I was saying, please take your title off and just drop it. Like, do you remember? Now I can't remember the exact show, but it was Shawn Michaels versus Diesel.
Right.
It was personal, and you just saw it. Shawn Michaels walking towards the ring, and he just starts takes his top off, takes the title off, just drops it all on the floor, and just straight into the ring. And I absolutely loved that AJ just took his top off and then just dropped the title on the floor and just went running at Joe.
It was the same as The Rock versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 02.
Yep. What match was that between Shawn Michaels and AJ in HBK? I want to say it was maybe in your house.
Maybe it was a wig on a pole match.
Jesus. It was in your house.
Aye, it will have been.
96, no holds barred. And then I think that was a match where Diesel used the camera.
Was it a December one, per chance?
I'm not sure. It just says, in your house 7, 1996. No doubt somebody will tell us later on when it was. But But yeah, it reminded me of that so much, and it just felt like, right, it made so much sense because of how personal the feud is. It was excellent. A real hard-hitting match. I know a lot of people wanted Joe to win. I would have liked Joe to win as well, but for me, I just need Miz to get that title ASAP. But yeah, man, that was a real good match, and it was a real good feud, to be honest, as well.
The Coquina clutch suplex was outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to see him incorporate that move regularly into his arsenal. It
was excellent. It was a real good match, really hard hitting.
It just felt quite sudden. I would have expected, considering how hell-bent Joe was on taking the title from AJ, that he would have hung in there a bit longer than he did. It just seemed...
And I also saw someone note, I don't know where I saw this, so I can't even give credit to the person that said this, that it was AJ, was it not, but it was using like chairs and other stuff, and Joe was just wanting to beat the hell out of him in the ring, and Joe didn't resort to using any chairs or tables or anything like that. I know there was that one table spot, but I think someone says that Joe didn't use any kind of foreign object because the kind of storyline in it was that he was hell bent on beating AJ and showing that he's better than him, and he's already beaten him, he's going to do it again. He doesn't need any foreign object to help.
I hadn't noticed
and
that.
Says, I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember if that's true or not, but if that's true, tip my hat off to whoever said that, and that says, I can't remember where I saw that.
So, thumbs up, down, or in the middle for Super Showdown?
Like I thought it was a fun little show.
Yeah.
I don't want to say fun little show, like
a fun super show.
It was a good show. I thought it was a good show, and I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, how I feel about the 10 a.m. start.
Well, we can't exactly complain.
Once it had finished, I kind of felt like, shouldn't we be going to bed, or why am I sitting eating breakfast while I'm watching a wrestling pay-per-view? It was strange, but at the same time, because we've got kids, Saturday morning, it's not like we can't exactly sit there glued to the TV for 4 straight hours and
exactly.
we get peace and quiet. So
the way I see it is, we can't really complain when we've got a show that suits our time zone.
No, actually, I'm not complaining at all. It's just like I say, it's just I had to go back and re-watch the entire thing, because even though I had it on, it was still being a case of running around and looking after kids and playing with them and getting them fed, etc. So I had to go back and watch it once obviously they were sleeping. But yeah, bring on more shows at that time.
Well, there were a few things that bothered me from it, but from a personal standpoint, seeing Buddy Murphy win the title, that was a big plus, and it made the show a plus for me. I'm just dreading seeing what's going to happen in 205 Live tonight, if it's bad news for Buddy. Old Buddy boy.
I mean, like I said, I could tell you right now.
No, don't. Please don't.
I'm not going to.
That would be unfair of you.
Yeah, it would be unfair. I'm not going to tell you anything. Like I said, I'm not even entirely sure what the spoiler is. Like, I saw something, and I don't know if it's that. But like I said, I saw a couple of things, so I'm not entirely sure what in reference that you may know or may not know. So I won't say anything.
Okay. Well, the last couple of weeks have been all about sort of Super Showdown and other things, but what we haven't really touched on this show is the Rusev Day, Lana, Aiden Day carry-on that's going on at the moment. Aiden English has been outed as a liar and a cheat, just like his father-in-law.
Aww.
What? Do you care much about this feud? Not really.
I always care about any feud that Rusev's in, and like I say, yeah, no, I do. I think it's not so much that I'm heavily invested in it, it's just because Rusev's in it. Look forward to the match they're going to have, and then we'll just take it from there. Because I know Kyle's a big fan of Aiden.
Mm-hmm. Aiden is good. It's just with Survivor Series, Crown Jewel, I don't see them getting a pay-per-view match out of this anytime soon.
Well, they might get it at Crown Jewel. Or they might get it at like one of these SmackDowns that they might try and beef up because there might be too much of a gap between pay-per-views.
SmackDown 1K?
Maybe next week.
Could be.
But unlikely, because I think there's going to be quite a few returns and a lot of those things will take place there.
As long as it's not as bad as Raw 25, I don't mind.
No, because I think what we're going to get next week, Evolution, Edge, Taker.
Is Edge going to be there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, I'll take back everything I said about part-timers.
Taker's going to be there. Ray returns. Ray versus Nakamura is going to be good. So
it would have been better in the Tokyo Dome, though. Let's be honest.
Fucking Meltzer.
Did you enjoy Kurt Angle, his appearance on Monday night?
Oh, God. He looked so fucking hell.
What was that dance all about?
I have no idea. Like, you kind of knew quite early on who it was, just from his stance and his physique, etc.
His trunk.
No. It was funny. It was funny about Fenton. Yeah.
We're running out.
Yeah,
of things.
I genuinely don't have much to say about that part. And obviously, like I say, with DX opening the show as well.
Oh.
And I know Rance is all in on that.
Fair enough, but I'm not that bothered, to be honest with you.
Neither am I. Like I say, I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it, and I think we kind of need to address what the fuck Kane was doing at ringside at Super Showdown, or what he wasn't doing.
Maybe he was actually there to form.
Go on, say it.
Just some sort of trade deal for Knox County. He might have been.
He was the worst backup ever. Just over there trying to export some of those excellent fresh produce that Australia grows.
Oh,
Yeah.
there is a joke. Oh, there's a joke brewing here.
Let's move on.
Oh, I'm nearly there. Hold on. It's Australia themed as well.
If you're going to offend, you're not going to offend Sir Sam here, are you?
I shouldn't think so. Shout out to Sir Sam, just in case I do. What do DX and a shit covered boomerang have in common?
A what covered boomerang?
Shit covered.
I don't know.
They always come back and hit you in the face when you don't want them to. That's awful.
That was shit.
Right, before we go on to the quiz, have you been watching the Mixed Match Challenge?
No.
Cool, next question. Have you been watching the Mae Young Classic?
No, because I've avoided spoilers.
Right.
And my plan is to watch it all like in a week building up to Evolution because the final's taking place. Now, granted, that one or two things have been spoiled for me, but for the most part, I've kind of managed to avoid it because, like I said, I just wanted to watch it all in the week building up to Evolution because obviously the final's going to be at Evolution.
Well, I have been following it. First of all, the Mixed Match Challenge. Sorry, I've just not got any time for that. As far as I'm aware, if there's going to be a tag match where people can't actually physically interact with one another, then what's the point in having the match? If you're going
What do you mean?
Like, it's intergender wrestling, but they're not actually wrestling the other gender.
Oh, yeah, so it's just men on men, women on women. That's what I done last year.
I know I didn't watch it last year either, or earlier on in the year. But the Mae Young Classic, the first 4 episodes were alright. That was just one of those showcasing rounds where you saw who all the stars were going to be. Last week's episode was really good, has to be said. A couple of standout matches. I understand she's a legend, but I've never really been exposed to Miko Satomura. Satomura, pardon the terrible pronunciation of the surname. Wow, wowzer, what a wrestler she is. Her legs are lethal weapons. Wait until you see this lady in action. Frightening offense.
Yeah, let's say I'm planning to watch it all in it's next week in a build up to Evolution.
Mm-hmm. It's good stuff.
And speaking of Evolution,
yes,
we'll obviously touch on it closer to the time. I know a lot of people are shitting on it at the moment, but I mean, you've got, off the top of my head, potentially 4 pretty good matches. You get Ronda versus Nikki Bella. Mm-hmm. Like I says, I'm not a fan of Nikki Bella or anything, but if they do go down the route where they're going to let Nikki get some offense in, like, they can still put on a good match. Nikki is competent enough to do that. Ronda as well. We know how much I love her. Charlotte versus Becky Lynch. Shayna Baszler getting a rematch, and the final of the Mae Young Classic.
And maybe the NXT UK as well.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if there's anything like been announced.
Well, I think I don't know what's going on with these tapings.
So let's say there's certainly 3 good matches anyway, and I know a lot of people have been shitting on the tag match that was just announced there on Monday. Later, Trish Stratus versus Mickie James and Alexa Bliss.
Well,
there are theories going about that apparently they've just changed their mind and they were false advertising and whatnot, and they were always going to change it back to it was always going to be a tag match and it wasn't going to be Alexa Bliss versus Trish, but who knows what to think.
What about the rumour that Alexa Bliss was suffering from a career-ending injury?
And that's the other thing.
Shite again.
I think the problem, and I think that they could be looking at it in the sense that how much can we trust Trish and especially Lita, because last time we kind of saw Lita in the wrestling ring, like, you know, she damn nearly died in the Royal Rumble.
Lita, aye.
So, and they might be thinking that, like, how much can we really trust it to put on a good match or be safe? So if we put them in a tag match, they can, like I say, we could always have like the heels doing the majority of the work, etc., etc., and the babyface can come back and get the win, where they don't need to be doing taking too much risk or doing too much harm to themselves. That kind of makes sense, and then that frees up another potential match for other people to go on the card.
And it's not too far away from what I had sort of jokingly predicted when we did one of the Super 5 shows with the Outsider's Edge, where it would be Trish.
Bring Carl back.
Bring Carl back. It would be a tag match between Trish and Mickie James versus the Iconics. So, although the Iconics, as far as I'm aware, they're not involved, but they got a nice wee win Saturday night there. They've had their spotlight. It's not as bad as single matches. It's going to be a tag match that protects 3 or 4 of the people involved in that match. But there is enough on there to get me excited. As you said, SmackDown Women's Championship match, NXT Women's Championship, the Mae Young Finals, possibly NXT UK. So there's enough there for me to be excited about.
Yep.
So whoever sent out the rumoured card, stop sending out false information, please.
Oh, just stop talking shite. Fucking idiots.
Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think we covered everything we want to kind of cover. Although it's been kind of PG from you tonight, is that probably because your mother-in-law's sitting in the same room as you, so you're being a bit of a... You want to come across like a good son-in-law, so you're not swearing or anything like that?
I don't need to try to be a good one of them.
A good son-in-law?
Uh-huh. Yes, this is true. The current positioning is true, what you've just said.
And the reason why he's not saying the mother-in-law or the son-in-law is because his mother-in-law is within earshot and she can hear him and she'll know we're talking about her.
She can
It's not speaking in a negative manner at all.
Not at all. Just don't want to bring attention to the fact that I swear more.
Yep, shout out to all the mother-in-laws out there.
No, mothers, no.
Well, mothers are potential mothers will be mother-in-laws as well, or at one point, hopefully, who knows. Shout out to all the mothers.
Shout out to Rob Ropey, who on Twitter put up a picture of him purchasing my wife's book. Shout out to you.
Yep.
He is supporting the hashtag podcasting house husband dream, supporting my dream.
And as I said in the same tweet to him, that he made me look like an absolute shit friend because
I knew that
we've
already.
known each other. We've known each other for nearly 10 years, and seen each other's kids, etc. And I've not bought the book. But as I say, like to quote Brock Lesnar, I don't give a fuck about your fucking dreams.
To quote...
no, I kid. I wish you and your family all the best.
All the best in their future endeavours. Right, let's quiz it. Well, you can quiz me.
I will, and I'll produce a better quiz than those fucking idiots over at What Culture did.
Now,
What Culture did.
That is easy for you to say. Now, I do have something of an apology to make towards the quizmaster of that specific quiz last week, because one of the ones that I was infuriatingly told I was wrong about was that there are 5 titles in NXT. Now, technically, you have the UK title. Okay. But is that really an NXT title, Ricky?
I would say it is.
Thanks.
Is it not called the NXT UK title?
No. Just the UK Championship.
Well, I suppose you could argue it one way or another then. But it kind of falls under the NXT umbrella. And
I got Bayley's tribute attire wrong because it was Dusty Springfield.
But she came out in the polka dots?
Aye. I think I'd said it was Macho Man or something. But Dusty Rhodes wasn't even in the multiple choice for what I had. And yes, Finn Balor. So I got a couple of them wrong on technicalities.
Well, that's not a technicality when you're not even included the actual answer in the multiple choice.
Mm-hmm.
Then, fucking idiot.
Can I splice in the tune now? Can you?
Do you want to do it live? Just as something different?
Absolutely not.
Oh, come on. Give my mother-in-law a wee chuckle.
It's not absolutely not.
On you go.
I wouldn't even sing that song in front of my wife, never mind my wife's dear mother. Right, stop talking so I can splice in the music. No, you won't hear what it is, no. I brought back in for a little fourth wall breaking there. I had a pretend argument. It wasn't even an argument. My wife wanted to hear the quiz song, and I said, no, you'll not hear it. And then she said, I said, you'll have to listen to the podcast if you want to hear it. And my wife said, you won't let me listen to it because I swear in it all the time. And I thought, yeah, but you're in the room next to me anyway when I swear anyway.
Yeah. I don't want I won't mention names or anything like that. But I saw your wife's tweet earlier on.
This is being recorded.
I saw your wife's tweet earlier on this morning, and it was the cutest thing I've read ever.
Right.
You can just ask about it later on.
Oh right, okay.
When she was doing a school run.
Right, okay. I will do.
Did you not see it? No, it was the cutest thing ever.
Right, okay. Right, where am I going to splice in this bloody song? Hold on a minute. 1:14:07:08:09. Right, okay.
It's fucking quiz time with Ricky and Clive and friends. A fucking WWE quiz.
Right, Ricky. How better of a quizmaster are you than Mr. What Culture? Go for it. What's the theme?
It is a Who Am I?
Oh, excellent.
And I'm automatically better because not everything that comes out of my mouth is just a top 10 article.
Top 10 reasons why our quiz segments are better than What Cultures.
Yes. Top 10 reasons why What Culture is not even a wrestling website.
Oh, the burial continues.
Right, here we go. I am a 6-time WWF champion.
WWF. Did you say that
Yes.
on purpose?
Yes.
Okay.
I was hoping you wouldn't pick up on that. I am a member of the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
My match in 1997, WrestleMania, was voted PWI Match of the Year.
I don't need to do a buzzer because it's just me. Is it Steve Austin?
Correct. The next clue was one time I won King of the Ring. And the fifth, I was hoping you'd have got it by now, would have been 3-time Rumble winner.
Right.
Okay. Number 2. I am a 2-time European champion.
Love that title.
It was a beautiful title. A 2-time light heavyweight champion.
Oh.
A 1-time cruiserweight champion. A 4-time tag team champion.
Oh. I'm going to go for a random one here.
Right, if you still got the 5th one.
Give me it then.
I returned to the WWE or WWF, whatever it was, the night after WrestleMania.
Sean Waltman.
Correct. Here we go. I am a winner of the King of the Ring. I am a 5-time hardcore champion.
Okay.
A 2-time intercontinental champion. A 4-time European champion.
King of the Ring. All those champions.
When would you like your 5th and final clue?
Yes, please.
I am a current on-screen character on a WWE program.
Oh, Curtis Axel. No.
Curtis Axel.
No, not him. There's quite a lot of Kurts going on, isn't there? Kurt Hawkins, Curtis Axel, Kurt Angle.
Kurt Cobain.
Rest in peace. Kurt Angle. Kirk Angel. The Conquistador.
Is that your answer?
Uh-huh.
No.
Oh, right, okay. I don't know then. Is it Kurt
Did
Hawkins?
Did Kurt ever win King of the Ring?
Oh, Ricardo.
Ah, shit. Right, well, he would never have won the fucking European Championship.
He did win the European Championship.
Certainly not 4 times, though.
That's true, but he was a Euro Intercontinental Champion. He was the he held both.
No, I know. But 5-time hardcore champ.
European. Is it Crash Holly?
A current on-screen character? Crash is no longer with us.
Oh, now you tell me that he's no longer with us.
Oh, that was devastating when I found that out.
A big hard pass from me.
I still don't know how I didn't know he was dead. And Jeremy and Josh come on and just absolutely destroy me. Bust my bubble. That is, right. Just think about it. He's an on-screen character on a WWE program.
Hardcore. Is it Christian? No, it's not.
An on-screen character?
Aye. It could be the Edge and Christian show.
No, right, well, right. He's an on-screen character on one of the weekly programs.
And he was around in the Attitude Era.
Yep.
King of the Ring winner.
Yep.
Was it Paul Levesque?
He's a 5-time hardcore champ.
Oh, just going to please accept that I've passed.
He's from Blackpool.
Oh, aye, that guy, William Regal.
I thought you'd have got it. I intentionally said WWE programming because I didn't want to just say NXT because it would have been too obvious.
Do you know they missed out on a trick when William Regal won King of the Ring? They could have called him King Billy.
Jesus Christ. Oh, God. Our American listeners in Sir Sam won't get that at all.
No.
But Mags and Bags, our good friend, they'll all get it.
Right.
Jesus. Let's move on quickly.
Okay.
Right. I am a 2-time tag team champion. My main roster debut was in 2010.
All right.
I re-debuted on the main roster again. I made my return in 2012.
Oh.
A third-generation superstar.
Oh.
Do you want a fifth and final clue?
Yes, please. I think I know who it is.
A one-time WWE champion.
Bray Wyatt.
Correct.
I think it was 2013 he re-debuted.
I thought it was 2012. I thought it was like July 2012.
No, it was after. It was after the Shield. Was it not?
Was it NXT then came in July?
Aye, that's true, yes.
It would have been July, okay, because I remember those early vignettes they used to put on Raw and some of his early promos at Kane. They were terrifying. Right, here we go. I am a 14-time hardcore champion.
See you in this hardcore title.
Wait, is it? It's the greatest title in pro wrestling history.
We need to do a special on that one day.
We do. To be honest, right, I will actually admit the hardcore title itself isn't the greatest title in wrestling history. It was just that 24/7 rule. That's the greatest thing that's ever happened in professional wrestling.
But do you not remember when Undertaker was the hardcore champ?
Yeah, but that I'm saying, no, 24/7 thing is what really made it.
True.
Right. I am a one-time WWE ECW champion.
Oh, God.
I am a 3-time ECW tag team champion. A one-time ECW champion.
As in the original incarnation of ECW?
Yes.
Right, okay, so that narrows it down considerably. Can I have 4 guesses, please?
I made my WWE debut during the Invasion angle.
Thomas Dreamer.
Correct.
Yes.
I only have 5 for tonight. But I actually got you a wee bonus one here. Okay. I want you to name, in order from the first title holder to now, the NXT Women Championship.
Oh.
Right? But, and I'll tell you this, it has been vacated twice. I want you to put that in the order as well, please.
My word. Right. First to last?
Yes, and the vacated bits have also got to be in it.
Oh, dear God. I'll get this
wrong. Do you understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Paige.
Mm-hmm.
Vacated.
Mm-hmm.
Natalia. Charlotte. Sasha. Bailey. Asuka. Vacated. Ember. Shayna. Kairi Sane. How did I do?
Who did you say after they vacated?
After which vacating?
Paige.
I said Natalia.
She's won NXT title for?
Well, obviously not, if that's not in your answer.
No, Charlotte beat her.
For the vacated title?
Yeah, for the vacated one. I think it was like they had like some sort of tournament, remember? So other than that, it was alright. Sasha, Bayley, Asuka, vacated, Ember, Shayna.
I did not bad there, actually, didn't I?
Like when I was writing it out, like I was kind of surprised that no one's won it more than once.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, we had like Joe Finn, and then we had Naka Joe or whatever, or Naka Rude even. I was quite surprised. But yeah, that was the quiz for tonight.
Thank you. I thought
in comparison to the What Culture one, which one was better?
This one, obviously.
Oh, thanks.
You should get a job at What Culture.
Who?
You.
Well, my first article would be top 10 reasons not to read this website anymore.
Oh my God almighty. Right. Anything you want to plug? Any people you want to plug?
Certainly not What Culture.
Jesus.
No, I'll leave it all to you.
Okay, right, so this has been the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show on the Social Suplex Podcast Network, alongside other shows such as Outsider's Edge, Grown Men Watch This Shit, Keepin It Strong Style, and One Nation Radio. Please rate and review the podcast on the app of your choosing with a nice big fat 5 stars. You can get the podcasts and the columns that some of us do, covering 205 Live, NXT, and a bunch of other sort of more niche interviews with other wrestlers and stuff like that on socialsuplex.com. And if you press the subscribe button, you can get those sent direct to your email. We are at Ricky and Clive on Twitter and Facebook, and the Wrestling Squared Circle Facebook group is where you can find us all talking about all things wrestling. I'm doing another column series at the moment where I'm looking at the top 10 cruisers in preparation for the 100th ever episode of 205 Live. Because I will be on the Perfect 10, as far as I'm aware, I'll be on the Perfect 10 wrestling show tomorrow on Lords of Pain, talking mostly about 205 Live and the joyous moment of Buddy Murphy winning. This week's column might be delayed by a day or so, but plenty of content coming out for myself. I think I covered everything there, did I?
I believe so.
Before we go, I've got even more breaking news for you. Matt Osborne. Do you know who Matt Osborne is?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to tell everyone who Matt Osborne is?
No, you can tell us. Right,
so Doink the Clown, okay. He played Doink the Clown in the 90s, early 2000s. He's dead now. His family are looking for damages from WWE because he was basically treated like a jobber towards the end of his run in WWE and then just shown the door. So his family are suing WWE for funfair dismissal.
No. Jeez.
Oh.
I wonder which joke people will find the funniest today.
Well, I personally found that one hilarious. I'm not going to take credit for the punchline. I heard it earlier in another joke, but my word.
Because you had that one, and then I had the firearm one, and then you opened the show with a joke.
So I've not got any more.
If you want, I could tell a joke.
Right, go for it. One more.
Did I tell the bus one? The bus one earlier on?
You told me, but tell our very thankful listeners.
So, folks, I just got home from a night out, quite drunk, and I just says to the wife that I almost got into a fight on a bus. So I got onto the bus and like I says, I've been out all night and I've been drinking. Sit down in a seat and the bus is empty, so this guy comes up to me and says, "You're in my seat, get up." And I was first, look all around you, there's seats at the front, there's seats at the back, there's seats next to me, like, why would I move? So, like we said, we kind of started shouting at each other, and then we came very close to getting into a punch-up. And then I says to the guy, I was like, right, well, I'll move, but you'll need to drive the bus.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Hack.
Hack who?
There you go.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Right, that's us. Let's go. Night night. Speak to you next week.
Take care, folks.
Thank you for listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time.